There are so many great games in the Zelda franchise. It's hard for me to pick just one. But I'm gonna have to go with A Link to the Past because it's just such a great game. Like, everything about that game is fantastic. The bosses are great. I mean, some of them aren't as good as others, but they're all iconic and fun to fight. Like, Moldorm is annoying as hell, but he's still fun to fight. And the Helmasaur King is just awesome, and I love hitting him in the face with my hammer. The setting is great. Like, Hyrule's laid out so perfectly, and there's so much to do in that game. Like, there's what, 11 dungeons? 12 if you count Ganon's castle. You got the whole Aghanim thing going on, where he gets Ganon jacked, of course, in the end, but I mean, he's still pretty cool. A Link to the Past just does not disappoint, because you're having fun, you're doing all this stuff, gathering up pendants, and then, hey, guess what? There's a Dark World too. So you have this whole other alternate version of Hyrule to explore. There's a bunch more dungeons and monsters and different kinds of stuff to do. The spell medallions are amazing. I love those things. Like, Zelda needs magic in it. Bring those back. Then, after you're done with your adventure and you've gathered up all the tools you need, you fight the big boss himself, Ganon. And it is just such a great fight and a fitting conclusion to such a great game.
My favorite game in the entirety of the Legend of Zelda franchise, which is just chock full of amazing games, would have to be the absolute classic, Ocarina of Time. A lot of people think that's the generic go-to favorite for everybody, and it is to some extent, but that's because it's so damn good! Ocarina of Time completely revolutionized 3D gaming and Zelda as a whole. Now, to some extent, that revolution was a bad thing, because it fell into a ridiculous cycle afterwards that never really deviated from until Breath of the Wild, basically. But still, it was such a trendsetter and such a ridiculously well-made game that it just has to stay my favorite. It has one of the better stories in the Zelda franchise. I don't think it's the best, but it is definitely up there with the time travel nonsense and the introduction of Ganondorf, giving Ganon a face and not just like a pig monster that you have to go kill at the end. No, Ganon was a real like person this time. It was awesome. He ended up going from like just a monster, basically like Bowser, to one of the more well-developed Nintendo villains, which I really enjoy. And you know, you start as a kid, it's all well and good. If you continued with the pace and everything that you were as a kid, it might not be my favorite. But once you take that Master Sword out, you become an adult, and the whole world has basically been destroyed because Ganondorf can just run amok for 7 years. It was awesome. And when you first step out into Castle Town, that was like the biggest tonal shift in a Zelda game that I could think of. Because it went from like, kid, adventure, oh, gotta stop evil, here's this sword. Oh, Jesus, zombie apocalypse bullshit going on here. Just like everything's dead, everything's destroyed. There are straight up zombies that try to hump you in Castletown. It was nuts. Ocarina of Time had some of the best bosses that the franchise has ever seen. One of the best introductory dungeons. Just fantastic dungeon design, period. Spirit Temple is my favorite. Probably my favorite in the franchise. With the one half kid, one half adult thing there. It was amazing. Ocarina of Time's so good, and it has the best final battle in the series. I don't care what anyone says about Wind Waker, I don't care what anyone says about Skyward Sword, I don't care what anyone says about Twilight Princess. That battle with that massive pig monster, where it's like thunder and lightning outside, you can't even see his face. It's scary. It's awesome. It's just the best. There's nothing else in the series, in my opinion, that has beaten that final battle. And that just capped off one of the greatest games ever made. My personal second favorite game ever made, right behind Chrono Trigger, it's The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And those are just some of the reasons that is my favorite game in the Legend of Zelda franchise.
One of the main aspects I judge all Legend of Zelda titles on is, was it an adventure? Was it fun? Did I feel like I was on the adventure? And no other game in the franchise does it quite like the Wind Waker. It is far and away my favorite Zelda game, and it's my favorite game of all time. The Wind Waker, everyone hated it right from the get-go. They saw the trailer, they were like, what is this Powerpuff bullshit? But then came out of the gate with one of the best plots in any Zelda game and shut all the haters up. I have never met anyone who has played Wind Waker that does not like Wind Waker, because it's just a damn good game. And everything about it is great. The sailing is freaking amazing. Yes, it takes some time, but you feel like you're on the adventure, you're charting the map, you're exploring the Great Sea onto the next destination, and it's fantastic. I didn't even mind the old Triforce quest, like gathering all the pieces. I didn't think it was that bad. Everybody else did. I think it's a little too easy in Wind Waker HD, but Link just sets out on this adventure to save his sister from the Helm Rock King, and he just ends up biting off so much more than he thinks he can chew, but then he digs deep, earns the Triforce of Courage, and ends up chewing it all up. And it all culminates in this absolutely amazing final battle with Ganondorf, where Link just stabs him in the forehead so deep you think he's just punctured other organs. It's one of the best endings to a game because it fills you with joy and sadness all at the same time. You say goodbye to your boat king friend, and then Hyrule is flooded once again. Link and Tetra move on to their next adventure, and it's adorably just beautiful. One of my favorite games, ends great, and it's just a fun adventure the entire time. Hey, thanks for watching. Did you like the video? Why don't you hit that like and subscribe button? It really helps us grow the channel. And don't forget to ring that bell to join our notification squad. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I put the links in the description just to make it easier for you to get to. And we will catch you next time for the next video from the Bro Trio.